Okay. So I know it's been a week and a half now since The Force Awakens released. I gave people enough time to watch it before I post any spoilers or my reaction. Not that a lot of people are going to watch this anyway, but I've been brewing on these fucking thoughts for about a week and a half, and it's finally time that I get these out on my chest. So, I've seen Star Wars Force Awakens 4 times now. Saw it Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, all opening weekend. I remember Thursday night when I first saw it, I left thinking, I don't know if I like this necessarily. It was about 12:30 at night, so I came home and went to bed. Next morning, I watched some reviews, and actually, I'm gonna give the guy credit. It's Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny. Pointed out if you pay attention to the first spoken line of the movie, it says, "This will begin to make things right." And so I went back and I watched it the second time that Friday. And after hearing that and watching it from that perspective, I really liked that movie. And so again, I saw it 2 more times after that. And I've been brewing on it all week. Like, yeah, I like it. It's cool. I get it. It sets things up for the next generation of Star Trek or Star Wars fans. Like, this is going to be the new Star Wars trilogy that everybody likes. And it sets things up for that. The other thing, too, is the timetable in between each Star Wars films is going to be a lot different or a lot shorter, so people won't have numerous times to pick it apart and fucking shit on it. Because if you remember, back in '99, everybody loved The Phantom Menace the first 6 months after it came out. People were leaving, oh yeah, it was great, love it, it was great, it was great, it was great. And then, you had 3 years to wait until the fucking Attack of the Clones. So after about a year, people start tearing the shit out of it, like picking it apart. I'm just like, oh, wait a second. Oh, no. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. With The Force Awakens, after a year, I mean, you're going to be excited for Rogue One, and then I imagine there's already going to be a trailer for fucking Episode 8. So you're not going to have that same time to fucking sit on it and fucking watch it 5,000 times and then shit on it. To be honest, what? So it came out in December in theaters. It's not going to leave theaters until maybe February-ish. When will it be on Blu-ray or for fucking home rental or fucking Redbox or whatever people do? Digital download. I would assume not till maybe next August, September. So you might have 6 months to fucking brew on it until Episode 8, because Episode 8's coming up in the spring of 2017. So it's not really going to give you that long period of waiting to fucking break it down, fucking tear it apart piece by piece. The reason why I'm also releasing this today is because I just left the movie theater and I saw The Hateful Eight. And besides the obvious fact that Tarantino for some reason has just the fucking desire to always use the N-word in his movies, except for Kill Bill. But in all of his movies, I think he tries to just put the N-word in as many times as possible. Besides that, I left that movie like, alright, I like it. But when I left The Force Awakens, I didn't feel that. And I don't know if it's just because I was Star Wars fanboying out and I was expecting something that I didn't get, or I just thought it was going to be because of the hype, I thought it was going to be the end-all be-all for Star Wars movies. But when I left Star Wars The Force Awakens the first time, I was just like, do I like it? I wasn't sure. And it wasn't because of the obvious reasons. Like, I hear a lot of people, a lot of reviews, again, spoilers, but a lot of people are saying, like, oh, I didn't like the fact that they killed Han, and Han's death didn't mean anything. Like, I was completely fine with Han's death. Like, first of all, it was telegraphed. Like, when he hugs Leia, I was like, oh. When she says, bring her son home, I was like, motherfucker, he ain't coming home. But, like, Han's death wasn't really what got me kind of bothered with that movie. The thing was, like, Alright, first of all, they bring in another Death Star. That bothered me. Second of all, they blew it up like it wasn't shit. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, it was 5 minutes, and it was just like, all right, boom, boom, we're gonna blow this up. We're gonna take the shit down, blow it up, boom. And they did it. It wasn't really shit. Like, at the end of it, if you watch, it's like the Millennium Falcon flies away, and I believe it's like 5 or 6 fucking X-Wings. That's it. 5 or 6 fucking X-Wings blow up the fucking Death Star fucking planet. 5 times bigger than the fucking Death Star. This huge fucking military battle. Fucking 5 X-Wings take it out. One shit. That's what bothered me, because I was like, wait a second. It wasn't shit. Like, it really wasn't. Again, to the Rebellion, it wasn't, it was supposedly a big deal, but as a movie watcher, you're just sitting there like, Again, you're supposed to be more worried about Han dying, going to find Luke, and all that shit. So you're just like, Death Star blowing up. We've already seen that shit again. But it had no emotional impact on me. Like, I didn't really have a problem with Rey having so many fucking force powers or unanswered questions. It was just because obviously it's setting up the next trilogy. But the one thing that pretty much every movie, except for maybe Attack of the Clones, as far as Star Wars movie, or Attack of the Clones and Empire Strikes Back, all of them kind of have their own ending. Whereas you can just watch it and there could never be another fucking Star Wars movie, and you're just like, okay. Because even at the end of fucking Phantom Menace, which I believe is the worst one, I hate Phantom Menace. But if they ended the Phantom Menace and that was your prequel, that was the only prequel they made, and then it went right into Episode 4, you could be like, okay, so that's how they found Anakin, and eventually the motherfuckers are gonna go bad and all that shit. You could live with that at the end of Phantom Menace, like, okay, so that's Obi-Wan, that's Anakin, blah, blah, blah. They even said, don't train this motherfucker, but they did it anyway. You could live with Star Wars at the end of Phantom Menace. I said, after the Attack of the Clones, you probably couldn't, because story answers there's still way too many unanswered questions. And that's how I feel The Force Awakens was, and that's why I don't want to love the movie as much as I want to. I just can't. I don't think I'll ever be able to love it until I see the whole trilogy. Until I see, 7, 8, 9. I won't know where it falls in, within the Star Wars universe. I definitely like it. So, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, if I had to say 10 being like the most, I'm at least at a 6 or 7 right now. I'm definitely not at like a 1 or 2 saying like I hate it. But I can't say like, oh, it was the best thing ever. I don't know, I'm going to start rambling here eventually. But it just, no Star Wars movie has ever left this many unanswered questions at the end of the movie. Maybe Empire. Because you're like, fuck, how are they going to get Han back? Is Luke... Well, no, I was going to say, you can't even ask if Luke's going to be okay, because they show him get his fucking hand fixed. Now, the only question that you have, but you don't have this question until you see Return of the Jedi, is so Luke just got his ass kicked by Darth Vader, then he shows up in Return of the Jedi like a badass, and he doesn't go back to Dagobah yet, so what does he do? Does he just sit in this fucking room and practice? How does he become like this badass Jedi in between, Empire and Jedi without Yoda? Because he doesn't go back yet. Because he goes back during Return of the Jedi. So how does he become this badass Jedi? Not to mention, and again, this is going to bring out the true Star Wars nerd in me. But what Luke was in Return of the Jedi, that is not what a fucking Jedi is supposed to be. Like, he was fucking kind of a dick and kind of bad. Like, he fucking just straight up threatened Jabba. Like, it's gonna be the last mistake you ever fucking made. That ain't Jedi shit. Like, it's cool that he had the Jedi powers, but that's some straight Sith shit. So maybe that's why he can't fucking train a complete Jedi order. And again, now I'm starting to ramble just about Star Wars more in general. I'll say this because Collider Jedi Council pointed this out. The Force Awakens, unlike the prequels, doesn't break any Star Wars rules, which is cool. The prequels definitely fucking fuck shit up with the midichlorians and all that shit. The Force Awakens doesn't have Star Wars problems. It has movie problems, but it doesn't have Star Wars problems. My only concern is everybody loved each prequel after they saw it. I admit, I don't hate the prequels, but I was definitely one of the bandwagoners. Like, after each one of them I saw, I was like, oh, that's fucking sweet. Awesome. I remember I saw fucking Revenge of the Sith 4 or 5 times in theaters. Just like, fuck, I love it. I love it. And I still think it's the best one of the prequels, but it's not by any means a great movie. But I really liked it at the time, back in 2005, was 10 years ago. So I wonder if we'll feel the same remorse for The Force Awakens, a year from now. Again, I think the time window between the movies, being that we only have to wait a year and a half, will kind of, right before we hit that dip where we start fucking picking it apart, I think we're going to get hyped for that next one. So I think the way they're spacing the movies out is going to do the movie and the franchise a lot better. And it's going to depend on Rogue One. Rogue One has to be good. But at the same time, like, I don't know if it's going to give us the same. A lot of people are cautiously anticipating the next movie, the next 2 movies, because they've been burned by the prequels. Now, the same way, I'm like, I like it, but let's not give our hopes up and saying that this shit brings Star Wars back. We don't know. We said the same shit after. Go back and watch some of those just YouTube fucking Force or Phantom Menace reactions, and you'll see people coming out, woo, Darth Maul's the shit, oh, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, oh, yeah. People still didn't like Jar Jar Binks. I don't think anybody liked that. But people they were fucking hyped after Phantom Menace. Then it took about, 6 months to a year to settle in and like, what the fuck? That wasn't fucking Star Wars. That shit fucking sucked. And I really hope that we don't do the same thing with The Force Awakens. I'm going to end it at that because I'm going to start rambling. Peace.